MJ Jackson. I'm here at the Paley Festival where we will talk to the cast of Queen Sugar. So stay tuned to see what they have to say about this new season. So when you signed up for Queen Sugar, did you know this was going to take your career off as it did?
I hoped it did. I had been plugging away for a long time for a role like this, but I did not. When you're working with Ava DuVernay and Oprah Winfrey and all of these wonderful actors and actresses and cast and crew members, production team, when I first got on set, the first couple of days, I realized that we had something special. I just didn't know how special. The reception that we get, the love that we get from everybody from all over the country, everywhere I go, it's like, hey, Queen Sugar, and they call me, Davis. They don't know my real name yet, but it's a lot of fun. But it's a dream come true. I had gone through some really hard times in my career, and when I got this, it's still surreal. Every time I think about the night that Ava called me, she called me personally, on my cell phone. I was living in Atlanta at the time, and I was hanging out with a friend of mine watching, we were binge watching The Walking Dead, and my phone rang, and I was expecting a phone call from a number that I wasn't going to recognize because someone told me, I'm going to have them call you. I said, cool. So when it rang from L.A., I said, this is the call, but it was Ava. And I just went somewhere else for a moment. And still, sometimes when I think about it, it's still surreal. Every time I watch an episode or I'm at the mall and people just express how much they love the show and how much they need the show. And then, I'm talking about age, gender, race. It's been so broad. So I am loving it. So to answer your question, I didn't expect this, and I'm loving it. So
It's one of my favorite TV shows. Honestly, it really is. So what is the best advice Ava DuVernay or Oprah has given you?
Oprah has given me silent advice, and by that I mean she can give advice just by walking into a room. A lot of people know the Oprah Winfrey that they see on television and on the big screen, in the magazines, but I get to see Oprah, one-on-one, face-to-face, and the way she carries herself, you can see why she's a force. She's not just a woman. She's not just a queen. She's not just the owner of a network. She is a force that you watch and you respect and you learn from her. Ava DuVernay, same thing. Not silent, but vocal, but not specific. Like I watch what she does, and how she does it, on and off camera. She's I call her a queenius. She's a queen genius. She has this way of just magical way of just making everything good, even if it's something that's very challenging or maybe difficult. She has this je ne sais quoi, this thing that just makes her so. You remember the Fonz from Happy Days? You might be a little too young.
I think this is a little bit before my time.
Your time. Well, those cool characters where they can just pretty much do whatever. Mm-hmm. That's Ava. She's just a cool. I think she cloned herself.
Why would you say that?
How can she do all this? She's doing like everything.
She is, and she won an Emmy last night.
Yeah, she won 2 of them. Yep, she's extra dope. So, the advice that they give me are things that I take from them that they may not know that I'm taking away from them. I just watch them, and just, that's how I learn from them. And they're awesome. 2 queens in their own right.
That is, when I met Oprah, it's nothing to explain. Like, it's Oprah.
That's Oprah. Like I said, she's a force. She's an experience, not just a person.
Well, how has Queen Sugar changed your life?
This is going to be the whole interview if I say exactly how.
Well, give me the short version.
Short and sweet, long story, not so long. I met Ava back in 2016, and I've been auditioning for projects, but working predominantly in theater. And I wasn't necessarily doing roles that advocated for people who looked and loved like me. You know what I mean? I was doing some great work and some important work, but never did I look and get to see my exact family and their exact circumstances in 2017. This work informs exactly what's going on. So it's changed my life because it's let me know that my art is important and can change the world and can be informative. I don't got to be Zach on Disney Channel. I could be Mike on Queen Sugar and present these images and stories that are 100% relevant. Yeah. So that's been life affirming,
So how is it working with Oprah?
Oprah, we call her a fairy godmother on set. You know what I mean? She really believes in this project. She greenlit so much of what made it possible. Queen Sugar is a really patient show. Some people will call it slow in its pace, but she knew that that was how we needed to deliver this, to allow people who aren't black and don't live in the South to have access to these characters and these stories. And she's just, I mean, look at her career. She's the right person to helm a project like this, and I'm sure that its success is merited completely because of Oprah Winfrey.
In your character, you dealt with police brutality. So have you ever dealt with it in real life?
My mother, you know, she was a correction officer in New York, so growing up, my relationship with police was a little bit different. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm insensitive to the fact that it is happening and that it's real and that it's a reality for me walking around. I understand prejudice and racism being in the grocery store, people just looking at you and thinking on you, and it's unfair. And I was so happy when they introduced that storyline because, you know, we see it on World Star all the time, we see it on our Facebook feeds, and we're becoming desensitized to it. But it's so important that we get to see this young black man on the other side of it articulating his experience, because a lot of people don't live to tell that story, how it informs them, you know what I mean? So I'm so happy to be a part of this revolution that is Queen Sugar.